Hi, welcome to the next assembly video for the RepRap Prusa i3. In this video we're going to work on the Endstop switches. So we'll need the 3 Endstop switches and then also the solid copper twisted 24 gauge wire. Okay, I don't know if you could see this, but on the switch there's a common, normally open, and normally closed. So COM, NO, and C. The firmware from our kit at Northwest RepRap is has the firmware pre-installed, and the firmware is set up for normally closed. So that's how we're going to wire these. And then also, if you purchase the kit from Northwest RepRap and you purchase the partially assembled option, you won't have to do any soldering. So this part would already be done. Easier to do the wire if I have that like that. So I'm just going to prime the leads on the Endstop switch for common and normally closed, and then the wires. These are not polarity sensitive, so okay, that feels pretty good. That one's done. Whenever you're soldering, you want to make sure that you don't leave the iron connected to the electronics for more than 3 to 4 seconds. There's some great videos on YouTube, like tutorials on how to solder. There's a couple of links on our support page at nwreprap.com too. But that looks pretty good. That one's done. I like to put some solder on the tip while it's for when it sits between uses. That should be the last of the soldering, I believe, for the kit. Alright. Now what we need to do is get these attached to the RepRap. Now, we already installed one of the Endstop switch holders for the Z-axis. This is going to be for the Y-axis, and this one will be for the X-axis. When you look at the Endstop switch holder, you'll notice that one of the rectangular slots is smaller than the other one. There's actually a little shelf down inside of there that helps hold the Endstop switch into place. So you can secure this with M2 bolts or with glue, like super glue or hot glue. Or you could also drill these out to M3s and use M3 bolts. But if you do that, be very careful not to break the switches. So I'm going to use hot glue. Be quick. Pop it in there. I got a little bit of glue on the switch lever, but just try to clean that up a little bit. Okay, that should be good. I'll clean up the rest of that glue off in a little bit, but that should hold just fine. With this one, I'm gonna have to hold it for a minute and wait for that glue to dry. This one has a cutout for the Y-axis. Okay, and I'll need to get the RepRap up here for the Z-axis, and then we'll also connect these Endstop switches to the printer too. So this one's going to go in here like that. Okay, that feels good. I just pushed it all the way down. It feels good. Okay. So, well, the Z-axis is done. Let's get the other two attached to the RepRap here. Okay, I want to attach the the Y-axis Endstop to the front of the RepRap so that I can program the electronics to stop when it's or when the printer is done printing an object, I can set it so that the plate moves all the way forward, which would be really convenient. Some of these wires are catching up. Oh, that's right. This is for the okay. So I'm going to mount this one right about here, and this part will actually be resting against the smooth rod, and the bearing will actually press the lever to stop it. So this is about 25 millimeters from the M10 nut between here and here. And these are secured with 20 millimeter bolts, M3 bolts. So to show you on this one side has a nut holder, and the other side is for the bolt head. So it fits in like that. We'll be using M3 lock nuts for these. The nut fell out of the nut holder, so Now, if you clamp this down too hard, you might break the end stop holder. So you do want to be careful not to break it, but make it tight enough so it doesn't move around at all. And then we go ahead and test this. Okay, that feels good. We're gonna have to make a couple of adjustments to this later too. I noticed that we'll talk about it later when we go through the calibration. But okay, so that one's done. Now, if you want to install the Y-axis end stop switch on the back of the RepRap, then you'll need to install the X-axis end stop switch on this side of the RepRap on the side with the motor. And if you install the switch on the front, then you'll install the X end stop switch on this side, the idler side. But if you've got this kit from Northwest RepRap, then you're going to want to install the end stop switch in the front here and on the idler side, because that's how it's pre-configured in the firmware. Now, when you install this one, you just want to sort of eyeball the location of the hot end, and there's no reason for it to go past farther than the plate. So that's about right there. And now let me see where I'm going to install this. It's like right here is going to be good, so that the lever will hit the plate right here. I'm going to move that over for a moment. Get that situated on the smooth rod. And this time I'm going to start with the nut. I made that mistake on the Y-axis. Hold it in there and then get the bolt started. I'm going to tighten this just to a point where I can slide it around. It's easier to tighten with it farther down the rod. Okay. Now I'll eyeball this again. Probably could come back a little bit more. Okay, that looks good right there. And actually, with this situated all the way on, it's actually going to be hitting right here. So position it so that it hits right there. Then lock it down so it doesn't move as I'm moving it while I'm locking it down. Need to reposition it if you need to. Just going to check it again. Yep, that feels good. Let's test it to see if it moves. Still moving around, so it still needs to get tighter. Still in the right spot. Still moving a little bit. Okay, that's good. I don't think that'll cause any problems. All right. Okay, so that takes care of all of the end stop switches. They're all mounted now. In the next video, we'll mount the electronics and then get all of the wires connected to the electronics. And then there's still more to do after that too. But we're getting really close to being done. I hope you're having fun doing this along with me. And I guess you'll see me in the next video.